Funko Pops sold for $100,000. Let's talk about it.
Welcome to the Gastlecast. We're glad you're there. You get the right time. We had an all-time high. Funko's hot toys and charms on mine. Stick around, like, comment, and be sure to subscribe because life's a little better when you answer Chris and Heather. Hey, life's a little better when you answer Chris and Heather. Hey, life's a little better when you answer Chris and Heather. And remember, at these hallowed walls, we are together. Yes.
A couple of days ago, our friend Christian Braun from PPG reached out to let us know that 2 Funko Pops sold for $100,000.
This is the highest recorded Funko Pop sale ever of all time, and it happened with the Willy Wonka Golden Ticket 2-pack. There were only 10 made, and 4 of them came with golden tickets. This was one of them that came with the golden tickets.
And apparently the golden ticket is really, really rare, so that's what took this thing all the way up to $100,000.
Okay, I really don't understand why they couldn't just buy a less expensive version of one of the 10 2-packs and then printed their own golden ticket.
Because, Heather, they wouldn't be a true collector if they did that. And by the way, how dare you? $100,000 is a lot of money. I could use that money for a lot of really great things, so we decided we would pick our top 3 things that we would spend $100,000 on!
Number 3!
I would pay off some of my mortgage.
I would purchase 2.5 totally loaded Toyota Camrys, baby.
What the f***? Those cars are for old people.
Number 2!
I'd buy $100,000 worth of Twizzlers. Obviously, so I could bite them in half, shove them up here, and feel like I'm a walrus.
I would buy 40 flamingos.
40 flamingos for what?
You know how people have them as like lawn decorations? I wouldn't have those cheap plastic ones. I'd have the real deal, bitch.
Don't call me that. I mean...
I'm not calling you that.
What are you calling that then?
Anyone who's listening.
Hey!
And number 1.
Actually kind of look like 2, but okay.
Well, I did 2 before,
I know,
and that looked like 4.
That looks like 4. I know.
And now it's number 1.
It doesn't work anymore. I'd buy one of those jetpacks that you use out on the water. Can you imagine me flying around in the air like a rag doll, uncontrollably, just floating around?
No.
Me either.
Dolphin rides.
Dolphin rides? What do you mean?
Dolphin rides.
It's interesting that somebody purchased Funko Pops for this amount of money because that's crazy. Let's get real for a second. That is crazy!
Okay, would you rather purchase 1 Funko Pop 2-pack or 100,000 avocados?
Answer that down below. This just means this guy is a hardcore collector.
And his name is Grail Monster. He is obviously the biggest monster of grails.
I mean, that is one way to make yourself like the biggest Funko fan of all time. Like, how much bigger of a fan can you be than to make the biggest sale of a Funko product ever? That's some dedication. You are one dedicated mofo.
Okay, so really quick, let's talk about this sale because it was crazy. HobbyDB posted a whole article about this transaction to include a video of it going down. And this guy, he shows up with a duffel bag full of cash, and then this other guy shows up with a hard case briefcase with like padding inside
and locks
with a key with the 2-pack in it.
It totally looked like a mafia transaction.
You know what strikes me as odd though? The purchaser bought his money in a duffel bag where the other guy bought these Funko Pops locked up in a briefcase. Wouldn't you lock the $100,000? I mean, I know he wanted to protect the 2-pack, but why not just put it in a hard case? Why did he have to lock it versus locking the cash? Anybody on the street would be like, oh, $100,000, I want that if they're a thief. But they'd see like 2 Funko Pops and they'd probably be like, what the $100,000 is $100,000 That should have been locked up.
I was surprised that they didn't have any like security there, unless they weren't like on the video. But I would suspect that they would bring in people to get them back and forth. I mean, you have $100,000, you immediately go to a bank and you deposit it. I mean, unless you go and store it in your basement or something like a weirdo.
No, you wouldn't go to the bank. You would just put it in your Brinks car with all the money in it and drive
One of those big tanks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an armed guard in there.
This transaction was insane, and it's a huge historical moment for Funko. This is the first time, as we mentioned multiple times in this video, and I've seen this literally plastered everywhere. Yes. Christian told us a couple days ago when this news first came out, but we were totally busy and we weren't able to get to it, so that's why we're posting this video a little bit late. Spending $100,000 on 2 Funko Pops is really crazy.
You keep saying 2 Funko Pops, but it's actually one set.
I know it's one set, but it's 2 Funko Pops.
It's 1 2-pack.
I mean, this is the grailiest of all grails of all time.
Which blows my mind because there's prototypes. I think the problem with prototypes is there's no real way to determine how many have been made, because Funko seems to hold on to a lot of them and just send them out randomly to people and have them at like fun days and stuff like that.
Well, this golden ticket portion of this thing was probably the most important part, because that is the real rarity when it comes to these Funko Pop sets.
Less than 50% of those 10 actually got a golden ticket. And from the video, it almost sounded like they're not sure if all 4 are accounted for.
Okay, so somebody bought these Funko Pops, and that's great, but there's no way I'd spend that kind of money on Funko Pops. And I'm not shaming him.
No.
If people have the money to do it, but there's no way, even if I had that kind of money, I don't think I'd do it.
I don't think I would either. I think if I were to spend that much money on something like nerdy, it would be like a big statue or something. It wouldn't be just a 2-pack of Pops.
Absolutely. I feel like you could almost buy one of those oversized Funko Pops that you see at cons for $100,000 or less.
I think you could purchase multiple for $100,000.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I've been trying to process this story over the last couple of days. That is so much money.
If we put $100,000 down on our house right now, our mortgage would be next to nothing. Or we would just pay it off way faster. But now we're stuck in this for how many years?
We're going to be buried in this thing. Are you kidding me? You know, since we're on this topic, let us know in the comment section down below what is the most you've ever spent on a Funko Pop. Because I've been thinking about this ever since this story popped up. I can't remember the most expensive Funko Pop I've ever purchased.
I can. The most expensive that I personally have purchased was $50 plus shipping for a pop for you.
The Avengers Funko Pops.
Yes. But the most expensive you've purchased, as far as I know, was James Gunn. That was sort of a trade because we made money on another Funko Pop that we had sold.
Right.
And you turned around and spent that money on James Gunn.
That's right. Yeah. So I spent right around $200, I think, on James Gunn.
I think it was just under. I think it was like $160, $170.
And that was even something that took a long thought process. Like, did I really want to buy this Funko Pop or not and spend that kind of money? And to me, that makes my heart like flutter a little bit. But $100,000!
That's a lot of money.
We could be driving around in, what car? We could be driving around like 2 elderly people in Camrys right now.
Somebody in the Gastlecast We Hunt Together group posted this article that we referred to earlier in this video from HobbyDB, and I collected comments directly from our group because for whatever reason, Dish Trackers and Funko Finders did not post anything about this. There were a lot of comments, and they're good.
Okay, well hit me.
They're good.
I want to hear it. Hey.
ISO some Willy Wonka comments and some spray paint about to get me a new whip and a house with this idea.
Okay.
Man, I traded mine for a Klondike bar.
That's a pretty even trade in my book. Klondike bars are awesome.
Do you know how many Klondike bars you could buy with $100,000?
I'm not very good at math.
No, you're not. Must be nice to blow this kind of money like it's pocket change. WTH.
It's interesting that somebody spent this kind of money on a Funko Pop set.
This person must have, like, a really good job.
They must make ridiculous money.
To
spend $100,000 on a Funko Pop set?
Frenum is quaking right now.
Ah, yeah, Freddy Venom.
Yep,
yeah, because that one's sort of up there.
That's 24 pieces. One person sort of cornered the market and had something like, he never confirmed it, but people believe he has between like 14 and 18 or so, or had. He has sold each one for $10,000+. I think his latest one was something like 40,000.
Yes, way high. The new one's way high.
Yeah. And then there's me offering handies behind Panda Express to buy a Grail Leonardo, and this dude just goes and drops $100K. Some people. And last but not least, if I buy it, do I get the chocolate factory?
No, you don't.
Sorry.
So if you're watching this video and you're new to Funko, not all Funko Pops go for $100,000, obviously. These are super limited, and when you go to Funko Fun Days, which is an event that Funko holds during San Diego Comic-Con, you can get the most grailiest grails, the most expensive stuff. That's exactly where the Freddy Venom came from, and I believe that's where the Willy Wonka 2-pack came from also.
I think so.
This is where you get the heavy hitting but you have to be at that event. To get into the event, you have to get tickets for that as well. So it's not a cheap endeavor, but once you finally get in there, you get some cool stuff.
And you could end up with a 24-piece Funko Pop, or if they do something super crazy, maybe a 2-pack that is limited to 10. But keep in mind, there's a ton of people that attend Fun Days, so the chances of you getting one of those 24 or even 10 counts would be very minuscule.
Funko, if you're watching this and you've been keeping your eyes on this transaction, you should totally reach out to this guy and have him at Funko, like HQ or Hollywood, and like do something special. Like I feel like he deserves like a Freddy Funko crown on his head. Like they need to make a Freddy Funko crown for this guy because this is really remarkable. It's a huge deal in the Funko world, and now I want to see what happens moving forward. People are willing to spend a lot of money on these limited pieces, and all we're seeing now is them raise and go up and become more valuable.
Like we've said a million times before, limited pieces are what keeps Funko alive. A lot of people say, oh, restocks, this is awesome. I am so excited because I wasn't collecting when this certain piece came out, but I was able to grab it. That's cool and all, but Funko does stay relevant in some way, not just from the pop culture sort of aspect or the nostalgia aspect, but because they do have limited pieces that go for a lot of money, upwards of $100,000.
So the one thing I was thinking about when I read this article is what people outside the Funko community were thinking.
They're probably thinking, oh my God, people are idiots for spending that kind of money on those little dollies, because you know that they're calling them dollies.
Or there are some people who are looking at this and they have those big money symbols in their eyes like a cartoon, and they're thinking, wow, there's a lot of money here. Why don't I jump in and start collecting myself? And although there is a lot of money in Funko, and if people get into it and collect the right things, they can have a very valuable collection. And we do know there are flippers out there doing flipper things, not riding dolphins like Heather wants to. It's different.
So if you are new to this hobby and this thumbnail or video just grabbed you in, just know that there is some money in Funko, but generally it takes a lot of luck and you being in the right place at the right time to get something that is this valuable, or just a ton of money.
So this whole situation is crazy. What do you think about this?
And also, what would you do if you had $100,000 to blow? Let us know all of that and more in the comment section down below.
In every video, we like to shout out to some of our patrons from Patreon. In this video, we'd like to shout out to Moondoggy16, Eddie Hamill, Dean Blockley, Richard Perez, Rudy Castillo, Calvin Lee, Derek, Raymond Lubis, Tino Maldonado, and I'm Funko Jeff. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. We appreciate all of our patrons from Patreon. You guys rock. And patrons, don't forget, this Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be doing our live Google Meet chat, and you don't want to miss out on that, so make sure you tune in this upcoming Saturday. And guys, head over to Poppin' Off Toys for all of your Funko Pops, Funko Sodas, and Funko Mystery Minis. They've got it all. PoppinOffToys.com. It's that time again. Remember, as always, we hunt together, yes. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.